Today on the Working Tools podcast, we will have a special interview with our most worshipful Grand Master of the province of British Columbia and the Yukon.
Ladies and gentlemen, brethren all, welcome to the Working Tools podcast, a casual conversation around Freemasonry. First, it's important to note that our thoughts and opinions are our own and do not reflect those of our Grand Lodge or respective craft or concordant bodies. Please connect with us and ask questions via our website at theworkingtoolspodcast.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Stephen Chung, worshipful brother Chung from Kelowna, British Columbia, member of Prince Charles Lodge. And today we're joined by worshipful brother Jarrod Dunham from Penticton 147 in beautiful Penticton, British Columbia. Unfortunately, our two brothers from Washington, our regular panelists, very worshipful brother David Colbeth and very worshipful brother Matt Appel, cannot make it tonight. Brother Colbeth's down with COVID, and it's got him beat today. So he extends his regrets, but he did leave us with a few questions for you. We'll get to those later. And very worshipful brother Appel is traveling with his family, so he also extends his regrets and greetings as well. So again, tonight our special guest. Let me introduce Most Worshipful Grand Master of the province of British Columbia and the Yukon, Most Worshipful Brother Ken Overy. Welcome, Grand Master.
Oh, thank you. I very, very much appreciate you inviting me to be on here tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I thank you for this opportunity.
Hey, we're excited. We really like to do these personal one-on-one interviews and getting to know a little bit more about our Grand Master and who he is and what makes him tick and whatnot. It's a pretty cool opportunity for us. That's for darn sure. So we're very happy to have you. We're very sorry our other brethren can't be here. They really wanted to be here, but they did say they will not miss the follow-up interviews if we get to do them with you. So so we like to kind of just start off with getting to know a little bit about you and where you grew up, what brought you into Freemasonry and what made it so special for you. And then we've got some questions for you that we can ask once we get in to that kind of distance, and we'll go from there. So tell us about you.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Well, I was actually born in Montreal, Quebec. I stayed there for about 28 years. I had a bunch of jobs. I went to Dawson Technical School, so I was trained in electronics. And I used that to my advantage. I had it when I joined Molson's Brewery. I thought that was a pretty good pretty good way to utilize my talents.
Yeah, very
in all respects. Yeah. So anyway, I stayed there for quite a while, and then my wife and three kids made the decision to move out to BC. Never regretted it a day since. It's a totally different kind of lifestyle, and it was the kind of lifestyle I enjoyed. So I continue to enjoy. I got a job there I was an electrician out here, and then I transitioned into BC Tel. There was, if you remember the recession in 81, everybody was having hard times finding a job. BC Tel happened to go on strike. And I was thinking, well, there's always some people who think the grass is greener on the other side. So I applied and I got in, and that's where I did a 37-year career. It was now TELUS when I retired, and I continued to work for a few years after, and so the story goes. But that's my personal life in a nutshell. How I joined Freemasonry. It's funny. I met another electrician, and he he was quite a amazing man. Slim Pritchard was his name. He's big on the island, and I worked a few jobs with him, and then I have to. Everybody I met was really nice people. All the friends he dealt with were really nice people. Unbeknownst to me, he was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite. He was in just about every concordant body you could imagine. And we mentioned he talked about Freemasonry, but in those days you alluded to it. You didn't come right out and say anything. But the turning point for me when I asked to join, and this is it's an amazing story. He was an almoner for one of the bodies. And there was a woman who was being very badly abused, her and her child, and she broke away from her husband, but she did not want to be a burden on the system. So she set out to be a hairdresser. She managed to do that. She wanted to open up a new salon all by herself in her garage. So she phoned around for quotes, and it happened to be Brother Slim. He found out about it, so he called me up. I was working for the telephone company at the time. He pulled in favors from all the masons he knew. Did the floors, did the wiring, put the telephone systems in, insulated chairs, everything. At the end of it all, she got a bill for $125 just to say she didn't get it for free. She does not know to this day where it came from.
That's awesome.
Those people, when I found out all about this, said, I would love to be a part of this. And then I asked that question, and the rest is history. But it was a pretty awesome way to be introduced into Freemasonry.
That is pretty cool, I must say. It's those really cool experiences that touch our hearts and give us a view at deeper meanings, right? So I think that's amazing and a really cool story.
Yeah.
Right. And so you joined which lodge?
I joined Shamanist Lodge in Ladysmith.
Okay, and that was back when?
Sorry?
And that was back in when?
Oh, that was in 98.
1998.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool in Shamanist. And then so you obviously the kind of guy who just dove in head first and went all out, or did you take your time slow and easy?
Yes. Well, no. I mean, my first job, I was a steward for 2 months, and then we went into darkness. We had our elections in September. I started as chaplain. Then I went right into junior deacon, senior deacon, then I skipped. I went to junior warden, then I skipped the master after that. Senior warden passed away. And ironically, I've gone through the East 3 times. Every time, the senior warden has passed away. So I've never, ever sat in the chair of senior warden. And our grand secretary commented, he says, if you ever join my lodge, don't ever sit behind me. Don't ever come up behind me.
Yeah, you wouldn't want a curse or anything like that.
I think we can agree that the curse has been broken now, because I don't believe the Grand Master died.
No.
Or the Grand Senior Warden, sorry.
Grand senior warden, yeah, that's right.
So they were just waiting for you to sit the right Senior Warden's chair.
That's right. But yeah, and then I progressed that way. I had an excellent mentor. Before we were talking about mentors, he took me under his wing, and he made sure I did the ritual. He explained everything to me. We had weekly meetings, and then at the end of that, when I became a master mason, as I progressed through the chairs, he always sat beside me all the way through the chairs until I became master. he took me visiting, showed me the difference between everybody and all the lodges, and we traveled all over the island with him. And then when I became a past master, he walked up to me and he says, "Okay, my job's finished. You're on your own." He sat with me right through the whole thing, and that's a mentor.
That's amazing, because you don't usually hear of that kind of mentorship as being very common. So that you're a lucky man to have that experience.
And those guys, and with the shamanists, what they instilled in me as a Mason, and with him, and that Slim Pritchard we talked about, pretty well destined to continue on.
And so then, when did you become a district deputy?
I was a district deputy. Well, I was Royal Arch. I went into Royal Arch at first, and I progressed. I'm a past Grand First Principal. That was in 2012-13, and then the year after that, I became a district deputy. And then, rest is history. Junior Grand, a couple years later, here I am.
Right on. Brother Dunham, you got some questions there from our brethren from the south. Is this a good time for those, or is that in the next segment?
They're mainly next segment questions.
All right. Okay.
But I actually have a question.
Sure.
And it's one I've always what's the word I'm looking for? What propagated your decision to run for Junior Grand Warden? Was it just a next step thing, or is there something you wanted to accomplish?
Actually, I didn't. It wasn't on my agenda at the time to run, but an opportunity came up, and a couple of people were telling me that, whispering in my ear that I would probably be a good candidate for that. So I hesitated a little bit, but then I thought I could run. Having a little bit of past experience in being the head of another body, it wasn't that hard of a transition. I had an idea of what to happen. The amount of work you do coming through this Grand Line is 10 times what I did before. But at least I knew the route to follow. That wasn't always the right way to do it, or I fumbled a little bit, but I had an idea of what the end game was. So yeah, that's what made me think about coming in anyway. And thought, what the heck, I got in, and I have to tell you, I was running against Art Smith at the time. And I remember telling the person beside me, said, it's in the bag. He's going to win for sure. He's more well known than I am. And when I actually they announced me as the winner of the election, or winner, but the successful, no winners or losers here, but as a successful candidate, the person sitting beside me says, the look on your face, he says, you were more surprised than anybody else in that room. And it was, I guess, kind of a shock, and glee, or whatever you want to call it, that I actually I obtained the rank of Junior Grand Warden. It was a great day, a really great day,
Right.
Followed by a couple of thousand extra special great days after that.
I think it was. I think a lot of it had to do with your message. So, because being from the interior, when I go to Grand Lodge, I don't know most of the Junior Grand Warden candidates, right? Because they're generally from the Lower Mainland, and so the only thing you have to go by is what their message is, what their speech is, and you have very little time after that to judge, right? And and then we're also trained not necessarily to judge either, right? So it's a little hard at times too, right? So I think a lot of it had to do with a good message, which I think will lead us into our next segment of our now we know our Grand Master, what are his plans for the year and whatnot. But I believe we're going to come back to and do a segment number 2 for that. So unless there's any other history or something that you'd like to share with us, or if Brother Dunham's got any other questions.
Not on history.
Not on history?
Not on history.
Saving the big guns for later.
All right. So then I want to thank you again for making the time to come and do these episodes with us. And we look forward to seeing you again in part 2 next week for more conversation, more casual conversation about Freemasonry and in particular your year as the Most Worshipful Grand Master.
And thank you very much for having me on. I'm looking forward to next week.
Excellent.